Hello, BookTube. I have some mail for you on this bright, sunny Thursday, mid-morning, boiling hot, seepingly humid. Stuff that sits out on the front porch is hot to the touch when you pick it up, windows open, and once again, in mid-November, me regretting that I ever had the AC units taken out of the windows. Just badly regretting that was a bad decision. Not in my wildest nightmares did I think that I would be thinking about the AC unit in the middle of November in New England. But there's a bunch of mail here, including a box. I don't think there are any violations of rule number 1. I don't think anyone has sent me any books. But I also don't think the box is going to be what I want it to be. There's a thing that I particularly want. It's going to come to me in a box, if it comes to me at all. I don't think it's going to come to me, but every book season has a book like that. One thing lurking out there where the publicist in question might know perfectly well that you want it, and it'll be a question of whether or not they want to mail it to you. That's all it will be. They won't be able to determine it past that. I have a feeling that when we get to the box and I open it, I'm going to do the classic, got socks on Christmas morning where I go, oh, this is great, because it's not going to be the thing that I want. I don't think it is. But we'll start first with the other packages, just so to build up to my disappointment. So what's this first one that we have here? Oh, I think we saw this already. Did we not? I don't remember. This is a novel by David Sanchez called All Day is a Long Time. No pub sheet. What do we know about this thing? Comes out in late January, so I won't be reading it this year. And it'll be a $25 hardcover. And it is the author's debut. David Sanchez is the recipient of the James Michener Creative Writing Fellowship at the University of Miami, a PEN American Writing for Justice Fellowship, and a Tin House Scholarship in 2018. And this is his first book, and he lives in Tampa, Florida. So what have we got here? We don't have a pub sheet, so we'll just read from the book. David has a mind that never stops running. He spends hours in the library reading Dante and Moby Dick, losing himself in chemistry and philosophy. But on Florida's Gulf Coast, one can slip into deep water unconsciously. At the age of 14, David runs away from home to pursue a girl and, on his journey, tries crack cocaine for the first time. It was only after I had managed to catch Deb that I took refuge in crack cocaine. But he reversed it. He's hooked instantly. Over the course of the next decade, he fights his way out of jail and rehab, trying to make sense of the world around him, a sunken world where faith in anything is a privilege. He makes his way to a tenuous sobriety. I did too. Then came marriage to Deb number 2, and then number 3, and then number 4, after which I said goodbye to sobriety. But it isn't until he takes a literature class at a community college that something within him ignites. This novel is a spectacular, raw account of growing up and managing against every expectation to carve out a place for hope. Oh, I like the sound of this more and more. We see what it means and what it takes to come back from a place of little control, to map ourselves on the world around and beyond us. This author's debut resounds with real force and demonstrates the redemptive power of the written word. Okay. All right. Well, the blurb on the cover says that this is for fans of Dennis Johnson and Ocean Vuong. Not really sure. Not really sure who those fans would be. I don't really know where those Venn diagrams intersect. But the book is All Day is a Long Time. This is going to be a debut novel. You already know I love debut novels. I love the white page freshness of them. You don't know anything. You don't know any of the author's tricks. You don't know any of their ticks or their bag of tricks or anything like that, because they've never displayed it to you. You've never had occasion to know it. Whereas, you get a writer of contemporary literary fiction, all of which is autofiction. You get an author like that who's written 4 books. When their 5th book comes to you, you can practically start at page 70. There's no such thing most of the time anymore as inventiveness in these authors, so they're just going to write the same book over and over again. So, but a first book, there's none of that. A first book is pure wonder. So anyway, let's move on. We've got a couple more packages here, and then we'll get to the box that I'm sure I will love. Let's see what this This first package is not behaving because the package opener has no sense of touch. So, oh, all right. It's a finished copy of something. That's good. More finished copies, the better. What is this hot pink thing? Oh, great, fantastic. Okay, I kept hearing that the pub date kept getting changed on this, so I just stopped thinking about it. But here it is. Okay, this is Baudelaire. This is The Flowers of Evil in a new translation. Yes, yeah, this is a translation by Aaron Puchigian. It has an introduction by Dana Gioa and an afterwards by Daniel Handler, so it's covered. Lovely thing. Huh? This is from the good folks at Liverite. Known to his contemporaries primarily as an art critic, but ambitious to secure a more lasting literary legacy, Charles Baudelaire, a Parisian bohemian, spent much of the 1840s composing gritty, often perverse poems that expressed his disgust with the banality of modern city life. First published in 1857, the book that collected these poems together was an instant sensation, earning Baudelaire plaudits and simultaneously disrepute. Only a year after Flaubert had endured his own public trial for published indecency with Madame Bovary, a French court declared this book an offense against public morals, and 6 poems within it were immediately suppressed, a ruling that would not be reversed until 1949, nearly a century after Baudelaire's untimely death. Clearly, the author of this cover copy has never actually known or lived with a poet. They may be bestowing on the world imperishable gifts for which we are all grateful, but they are so annoying that I would be reluctant to say that any poet had an untimely death. Subsequent editions expanded on the original, including new poems that have since been recognized as Baudelaire's masterpieces. The acclaimed translator and poet Aaron Puchigian tackles this revolutionary text with an ear tuned to Baudelaire's lyrical innovation. Okay, so this is a new translation of Flowers of Evil. Nice hardcover, very nice. This is a keeper, absolutely a keeper. But I want to know, apart from the introduction, how are you going to do this? Is this going to be bilingual? No. No. How can that be? It's page after page of English. Oh, I guess. I mean, it's not that big a book. You'd think you'd be able to make it bilingual. No. Oh, wait. Wait. Oh, hold on a second here. Oh, incredible. Okay. All right. It's not bilingual, but you do get the original book. You get the whole of the original book with no facing English. How fascinating. I don't think I remember the last time I saw an American edition of a translated work that did that made that decision, where the translations are not facing pages. You get the whole of the book in English, then you get the whole of the book in the original. Oh, that is fascinating. I wonder what kind of a reading experience that will make. Oh, boy. All right, well, I don't have a pub sheet on this, and the pub date has been changing like musical chairs, so I'll have to check and see what the finished final date is. It must be sometime this month. Boy, oh boy, though, it would be great to see lots of critics weigh in on this thing. I would love to hear that. But anyway, that's fascinating. Okay, so we're doing good. We got a debut novel and a translation of a classic, of a poetry classic of all things. So let's continue. We'll do this next package, and then we'll be on to the box, which I'm sure I will love. I'm sure it will be great. A tie clip. Oh, Grandpa, you shouldn't have. That's all right. It's okay. Let's see what this next one is. Oh no, it's him again. Okay. Well, fantastic. I don't have a pub sheet for this either. That's too bad. This is from Osby Press, and this is Anthony Tucker Jones, and the book is Churchill, Master and Commander. Winston Churchill at War, 1895 to 1945, with a foreword by Andrew Roberts, who did a long and worshipful biography of Winston Churchill. I don't remember the exact number. I'm not 100% sure whether or not this book by Anthony Tucker Jones is the 100th, the 1000th, or the 1,000,000th book on Churchill to be called Master and Commander. I don't remember what that is. I have a feeling there are multiple zeros involved, but I can't remember if it's 100, 1,000, or 1,000,000. But here we have it. This is Churchill at War. let's see what we have. It's not going to be easy. If it's going to call in Master and Commander, it's not going to be easy for me to get through. But if I can do it with Gen Z, then I can do it with this. Winston Churchill was one of the greatest military and political chancellors of all time. Okay. I actually do agree with that. I thought it was going to say geniuses. Chancellors, I do agree with. From a young age, his desire for public attention and his propensity to take risks to achieve this, not only with himself, though, let's keep in mind, he also risked everyone around him at all times. He was perfectly okay to do that, too. You were a brick on the road to his own celebrity. Whether you got there in one piece or not was of no material interest to him whatsoever. But anyway, meant that inevitably, on occasion, he gambled and lost spectacularly. His remarkable lust for military adventure and glory led him to action in Cuba, India, Sudan, South Africa, all in a semi-official capacity as he remained a commissioned officer in the 4th Hussars. His association with the British Army was long held and widespread, and away from the 4th Hussars he served on the northwest frontier in South Africa and on the Western Front in World War I. It was these early military experiences that firmly convinced him that he was equipped to oversee British strategy during World War II, and he did this in his combined role as both Prime Minister and Defense Minister. Okay, all right. Well, this is just a cover copy. I disagree with that completely. It's not like Winston Churchill on the eve of World War II thought, well, what were the titles again? I am best equipped as Prime Minister and Defense Minister because of my CV in various theaters of war. If he'd had none of that experience, he would still have thought he was the best equipped for that job, for those jobs. The results were disasters in Norway, North Africa, Greece, and Crete during 1940 and 41. Yet, oh, that's odd. Why would you announce that? Maybe this isn't hagiography. Maybe this is actually going to be a raw, objective look at Churchill's positives and negatives. That'd be kind of weird. I almost have never read such a book. Certainly the 999 or 999,999 previous books that were called Churchill, Master and Commander did not take that approach. So this could be an exception. Yet on occasions, he got it just right. His refusal to surrender in 1940, the British miracle at Dunkirk and the victory in the Battle of Britain, showed that he was a much-needed decisive leader. Partly, yes, he absolutely would not brook any thought of compromise with the Nazis. No compromise, no surrender. He recognized right away that they were the fundamental enemies of all free people, and he acted that way when virtually no one around him did. So that much is true. Likewise, his dogged perseverance in North Africa and during the Battle of the Atlantic paved the way for D-Day and ultimate victory. Okay, that was a surprisingly even-handed summary of Churchill. I'm just stunned, that's all. You never encounter that with this character. In this book, the author explores the extensive military and political career of the UK's most renowned and respected wartime leader, and examines how his formative military experiences influenced his strategic leadership at the highest level. Okay. This has a blurb by Andrew Roberts. It has a blurb from Peter Caddick Adams, who's terrific. And who is the author when he's at home? A former intelligence officer. He's a highly prolific writer and military historian with well over 50 books to his name. I don't think I've ever read him before. Anthony Tucker Jones. His work has also been published in an array of magazines. He regularly appears on television and radio. His a lifelong fascination with Churchill's extensive military career, both in uniform and as a politician. Churchill has been a constant presence in many of his other books, but this is the first time that he is the sole focus. Interesting. Okay. Oh, and he wrote a book called, I don't know if you're going to be able to make it out, The Devil's Bridge, about the Arnhem Campaign, the subject of the incredibly famous book, A Bridge Too Far. I don't think I have that book. And I don't have any information here to find out who I would ask for it. Okay, well, a Churchill book that isn't Churchill hagiography would certainly be great. That would be fantastic. But now we have the box. We have the box. And I'm 100% sure that I'm going to love it. 100% sure. Oh, a microwave ashtray. Oh, Uncle Carl, you shouldn't have. Let's see what we have here. I will be incredibly diplomatic, I promise. what have we got here? Uh, okay. This came out in late October, so this is out already. This is by Joan Richards, and it is Generations of Reason, a family's search for meaning in post-Newtonian England. I think I've ever heard that phrase before, post-Newtonian England. This book recounts the story of 3 Cambridge-educated Englishmen and the women with whom they chose to share their commitment to reason in all parts of their lives. The reason this family embraced was an essentially human power with the potential to generate true insight into all aspects of the world. In exploring the ways reason permeated 3 generations of English experience, this book casts new light on key developments in English cultural and political history, from the religious conformism of the 18th century through the Napoleonic era into the Industrial Revolution and the prosperity of the Victorian Age. At the same time, it restores the rich world of essentially meditative, rational sciences of theology, astronomy, mathematics, and logic to their proper place in the English intellectual landscape. Sorry, I was thrown there for a minute by theology being included among the rational sciences. Following the development of their views over the course of an eventful 100 years of English history illuminates the fine structure of ways reason still operates in our world. Wow. Okay, this is from Yale University Press. Honestly, I mean, I don't know, of course, but honestly, it seems like that reads to me like the publicist was 2 things: deeply impressed by the reading experience of this book, and utterly befuddled about how to describe it. That paragraph essentially says nothing, but it says it passionately, which leads me to believe this is a weird, memorable reading experience, and it's late getting to me. So I always say that my mail hauls are also TBRs. Boy, oh boy, does that apply here. I need to do this right away. This goes on the list for tonight. So we have Generations of Reason. Kind of interesting. Of Generations of Reason, we have Churchill, master and commander, and yet he doesn't walk on water. We'll see. We'll see if that's true. We have a beautiful and interestingly arranged new translation of The Flowers of Evil. Fantastic. Just fantastic. As what I always say, when I try to remember this before I go out spending money at used bookstores, but I never do. What I always say, if I didn't have any used bookstores around me, I would still be getting a steady supply of older works. The American publishing industry is constantly coming out with new translations of older works, new editions of older works. I love that. Love it about it. And finally, a debut novel for next year, All Day is a Long Time, by David Sanchez, about a young man who hits rock bottom several times and gets his way out through reading. Which of us isn't going to love that? I will report back on it when I get around to reading it. But in the meantime, those are our new books for now. The new books, and also a macrame dream catcher from Aunt Esther that I just love. I just love it. You're so thoughtful. No, really. What's it called? I shouldn't be. Generations of Reason really does sound interesting. It wasn't what I was thinking was in that box, but it still sounds very interesting, so I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it go. I'll read it tonight. I'll read that tonight, and also the Baudelaire. And maybe the Churchill as well. Why not? But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up for now. That is our mail for today, so I will stop now, but I will be back. Thank you, BookTube.